Recording. Law of large numbers is basically the more you do, the better. That's basically what that means. I went through the discussion of the roll of quarters, and if you do stuff over the bar, you know, you raise the bar when you do work. If you do stuff beyond what you're supposed to do, it never hurts. Okay? Basically, the law of large numbers is anti-lazy disorder.
Try to read what it says inside your water bottle.
What?
Inside of it. What does it say?
I don't know. Somebody gave me that and this and that.
Why?
I'll get an A.
I'm not gonna comment.
Like a student?
Yeah. You know, students give their teachers things. They don't just insult them all the time, like some students do.
So how many people answered questions when I wasn't here Monday?
It was very talkative without you here.
I heard it was not.
You're the whole reason we're here. You're the whole purpose for our universe.
I'm talking about answering math questions, not talking.
I don't know.
Hey, I got my cards in my car. I can run it.
I know, I appreciate that, but I forgot mine, so I suck. I know, I suck. Oh, there it is. How many, see, they didn't give the guys credit. They used the guy's analogy or their project, but they don't give them credit. So there's the actual tossing a fair coin the MIT students did, and it took 100,000 flips for the empirical probability to reach the what? The theoretical probability. Okay? If each outcome of an experiment has, okay, let's talk about this. You've got a scale in probability, and that scale goes from 0 to what? 1. In the middle is called likely. Okay, this is likely. Now, I don't know if you put an E in there. I really don't know. This is unlikely. And this is somewhat, halfway. Okay, that's 0.5. And the scale is pretty much like that. Just because something is unlikely, does that mean it's impossible? No. So I want you to write impossible under that, and I want you to put an X through it, because that's a standardized test question, and I think it's one of your homework questions. If something has a 0 probability, does that mean it's impossible? No. If you want to think about it, birth control. A lot of people take birth control thinking that it's what? Impossible to get pregnant. And you know for a fact that that's not true. Now I know that birth control is not 100%. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's a lot of people that think if something is very unlikely that it means what? Impossible, and it does not. Just like likely does not mean what? Perfect. Now, I'm not an English major, and some of y'all English people can help me out. What kind of words are these? Like impossible, perfect, exact. I don't know what those words are, but they are words that hold you down. In other words, to a prediction. What's the opposite of impossible? Unlikely. What's the opposite of perfect? Likely. Or you could use another word for perfect. I don't know. 100%. And instead of saying 100, exact. Exact is another word. Okay? When you're looking at a standardized test question, and the question says, if you pick 25 cards out of 100, that's 0.25. And then they'll say, what does that mean? And the two questions will say that about 25 cards will be this, or exactly 25 cards will be this. What word do you not use? Exactly. You do not use exact. You do not use perfect. You do not use impossible. Why? because that holds you down to a certain prediction. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? You use words like about. You use likely. You use unlikely when you're talking about probability. If somebody stands in front of you and says the probability that 17 people will be sick, okay, out of your employer, wherever you're working, that exactly, I predict with 100% accuracy, that exactly 17 people will be sick this year. Okay, will be sick and have to go on sick leave this year. That word cannot be used in probability. Okay, does everybody say that? You would say, I predict that around 17 people will be sick. Because it's bad language to use these words that hold you down. And there will be questions in your homework, on your test and standardized test, that will say, they'll give you 4 options down here, and 2 of them will use about, and 2 of them will use exactly. And you got a lot of them in 120. Okay? So that's something to remember when you're talking about terminology in probability. Capiche? Now, the theoretical probability and the empirical probability both are the same formula. Okay? And that same formula is the number of outcomes over the number of attempted outcomes. So I asked y'all the other day, what is the probability of a king out of a deck of cards? 4 out of 52, which is 1 out of what? 13. What is the probability of a 6 on a die? 1 out of 6. Now let's talk about the complement. What is the complement? Let's write that down. I don't know if they're going to show it to you or not. Complement. The complement is what makes up the whole. Makes up the whole. The complement of black is what? White. Complement of true is what? Actually, it's not true, but we'll say false. Okay? The complement of 35 cents to $1 is what? 65 cents. The complement of 4 out of 100 is what? 96 out of 100. Does everybody understand what a complement is? It's what makes up the whole. So somebody tell me what the probability of not picking a king is. Well, if the probability of picking a king is 4 out of 52, then what is not a king? 48 over 52, or 12 out of what? 13. What is the probability of not getting a 6 on a die? Well, what's the complement of 1 out of 6?
5 out of 6.
Is the complement very important? Hell to the yeah. Okay? It's not only important for this class, it's important for standardized tests, it's important for 120 and 103. That is one of those things that you have to learn. If I spelled it right. I can't remember if it's an E in math or if it's an I. I can't remember. All right? And they'll probably show us a slide, hopefully, here in a second. Now, you're also going to use the complement. Somebody tell me what the complement of success is. I say it in this class all the time. What's the complement of success?
Failure.
Failure. Now you're going to see that later when we do odds. So somebody tell me if success is picking a king then what is failure? Not picking a key. And you're going to use that with odds. We're going to use that here in just a minute. And I'm going to give you some examples of a fair dice roll. What is the probability of rolling a 2? So the way you would write that in mathematical terms, I like to put what it is. Probability of rolling a 2, and then I put a die right there, is 1 out of what? And I think that's 0.166 repeating, but somebody check, please. What's 1 divided by 6 on a calculator?
0.16 repeating.
All right, so that's the way you would write it, or 0.167. What's an even number?
3 out of 6.
Good. So the probability of an even number, and you would write even on a die, and you don't have to put the die, but I do that, is 3 out of 6, which is what?
0.5.
Okay, what is the probability? Y'all writing this down? Everybody writing this down? Or you already know it? Okay, because if you already know it, you can leave. You know, I just want to let you know. I did that. I had somebody the other day, yesterday, in my Math 109. They were playing on the computers and stuff in Pendleton, thinking that I didn't, you know. So I told them to leave. They didn't leave. So I guess they, you know, don't know the material. All right. So greater. So I would say a number greater than what?
3.
So what is that?
3 out of 6.
That's 4, 5, 6. So that'd be 3 out of 6, which is 1/2, or 0.5. Number D. Letter D is a trick question. I put it on a test one time, and 30 students, 7 got D wrong. Somebody tell me what the probability of a 7 on a die is.
0.
Thank you. Probability of a 7 is equal to 0. And a probability, what's the probability of less than 7? Which is that's the kind of questions. Now, the problem with probability and statistics is not the math. Somebody tell me if it's not the math, what is the problem with probability and statistics with students?
Wording.
How did you know that?
I guess I got common sense, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's something not a lot of people have. Okay? Reading. Now, everybody in here can read. That's not the problem. The problem is when you read something, do you know what the hell it's saying? Okay? That's the problem. And when I give somebody this question or this question, that is whether you're reading the question or not. Okay? Most people can get the first, second, and third question. But when they get the third, the fourth, and fifth, they either sit there and stare at it or they give me some crazy number. Okay? Because they're not thinking. Okay? So, with that being said, this is all the answers. I'm not going to go through the answers. We just went through the answers. But I'm going to throw out some. Here we go. What is the probability that reminds me, Monday, somebody may be in here observing this class because they're going to be opening up some accounting classes with the Polycom, and they're going to be probably sitting in the back watching the 9 o'clock class and this class to see how this works. So, hey, we're moving. The T-Rex College is moving toward 2050. I tell you what, I'm happy. So don't act crazy. Okay, please. All right, so here we go. The probability of a heart in a deck of cards. Probability of a heart. Well, how many hearts are in a deck of cards?
14.
13. Good guess, but 13. So 13 over 52, which is equal to 1 what? So what is the probability of not a heart? Well, what's 3 times 13? 39, Hubert. 39 over 52, which is 3/4, which is equal to 0.75. When you're talking about odds, write this down. When you're talking about odds, this is success, and this is what? Failure. Now let's talk about probability and odds. The odds against something happening. I'm going to erase, let's see, I'm going to have to erase this. Okay? The probability of something happen or against something happening, probability against, not probability, odds against. Okay, the odds against is going to be the probability of failure over the probability of what? Success. So in that last thing I just put up, what is the probability of failure? 3 over what? 3
4.
over 4. What is the probability of success? 1 over 4. What happens when you divide a fraction by a fraction? You multiply by the reciprocal, Hubert. And what happens to your 4s? They cancel, and you're left with a ratio, 4 over ratio. 3 to 1, or 3 over 1. And that is your odds against. Now write that down, because that is a test question, a standardized test question, and it's also a homework question. You're going to see a lot of these. So what did I do? I did the probability of a heart is equal to 13 over 52, which is equal to 1/4. Now, why did I use fractions? Secret, top secret. If you use fractions, the math is what? The math is what? What's the opposite of difficult?
Easy.
The math is easy. You just what? Cancel out. If you use decimals, you have to depend on what to divide decimals? You have to depend on the calculator. So don't use decimals when you're doing odds against. Okay, so there the probability of not a heart. I never was. When I was in junior high and you wrote love letters and all that stuff, I never was able to draw a heart. Maybe that's why I had bad luck. So that's equal to 39 over 52, which is equal to 3 over 4. And then I take that and I plug it into the odds against. So what should you learn in this section of 5.1? You should learn how to find the probability, how to find the complement, and how to find the odds against. Those are the 3 things that you need to be able to do in whatever chapter this is. What chapter is this? 12, 11? 11.1, okay? we're going to go on and continue. That's what the yellow and the green was a while ago. I just covered it in a different area. I like to use cards, and I like to use die. Okay? I don't like to use beans and pellets and all these other things. So let's go move on. God, let's guess what this is called. What's not A to A? Well, we just said it's the what? The what? Starts with a C. Okay, I think I heard a mumble of compliment. Yeah. Okay. Should you know a standard deck of cards? Yes. Okay. Unless you live under a rock, you should know at least, that there's 4 suits. Okay, you should know that. All right, and there's 13. So my suggestion to you tonight for homework is to play around with a deck of cards. Okay, I'm gonna try to bring some in here Monday if I can remember to go up to my office and get them, and do some group work. Can y'all handle it? Okay, you're not gonna go crazy on me and piss me off, are you? Can y'all handle group work? Okay.
Hubert, we would never try to piss you off.
What?
I said we would never try to piss you off.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. All right, so let me see if they're going to do a problem here somewhere. Okay, here's one. All right, so selecting one card from a deck of cards. Go ahead and do those. There's 5 questions, just like the die. These are 5 or 6 questions that I would give you on a test. I like card questions and I like die questions. So I want you to work those problems. And remember, the cards go from ace to 12, from ace to 10, and then jack, king, queen. I don't care about you getting a decimal All I want you to do is simplify the fractions. Because remember what I told you about odds against. Okay, I'm going to stop and ask y'all women a question. And Miss Woodward, I'm not picking on you, okay? All right, here we go. What is an 8? An 8 is the same as a king. So probability of 8 is 4 over what?
52.
And reduce that down to 1 over 13. So what's the complement of an 8? Not what? Not 8, which would be what? 12 over what? 13. A club. Probability of a club is equal to 13 over what? 52, which is 1 over 4. A jack or queen or king. A picture card. Well, there's 3 in each suit. How many suits are there? 4. So what's 4 times 3? So that's 12 over 52. Okay, that's 1/4. 13 over 52. Okay, no, that's 1/4. This, let's see, 12, 2 will go in there, what, 6 over 26. And then 3 will go in there, 2 over 13. So 2 over 13 is your probability there. A heart and a spade.
26 out of 52.
0.
Oh, I'm not reading. Sorry.
Not reading, exactly. Miss Woodward, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's an example, just like the what? Probability of rolling a 7. You've got to read. You will miss one of these questions just because you don't read and just because you didn't look at the directions, whichever one you want to say. You can't pick one card and pick 2 suits. So that is 0. A card greater than 5 and 0. Wait a minute. No, that's not 0. Greater than 5, which means what? 6, 7, and 8. What's 3? Excuse me. What's 3 times 4?
12.
So that would be 12 over 13, which is 2 over, well, that's 12 over 13. No, 12 over 52. Thank you. Which is 2 over 13. Okay? Now, a lot of people say, well, Hubert, that says and too. But no, it doesn't say and a spade. It says what? And less than. So this context of and here is different from this context. So let's see if we're right. So did we get 1 over 13? I think we did. Not an 8 would be 12 over 13. A club, 13 over 52, 1/4. A jack or queen or king, that would be, what did I say, 12 over 13 or 2 over 13? Okay, I didn't, it's okay, 3 over 13. I was thinking, 6 divided by 2 is 3, not 2. My bad. A heart and a spade, 0. And the last one should be the same as we got. Yeah, did I get 3 over 13?
You did 2.
Okay, I did 2 again. I'm sorry. All right, so there's your 10 questions that would be on the test, except for the odds against, which should be next. Okay, it should be in 5.2 or whatever chapter we're on. So let's look at the next section, Let me look, see what time it is before y'all go into convulsions. All right, let's go ahead and call it. We'll do 11.2 tomorrow. I will, yeah. All right, y'all have a good day. Got questions? Hang around.